The day I realized I was my own worst boss, based on the E myth revisited by Michael E. Gerber. Point number one, the hook, the breaking point. I was working 16 hours a day in a business I built to give me freedom. But at 2 a.m., sitting alone in my empty office, surrounded by unpaid and invoices and half finished work, I raised something terrifying. I did not own a business. I had created a prison, and I was both the prisoner and the guard. If you will ever started something, a business, a side hustle, even a creative project, hoping it would change your life, only to find yourself more trapped than before. This story is for you because what I discovered changed everything, and it might just save you years of pain. Point number two, the dreamer. Why we start? Let me take you back 2 years earlier. I quit my job as a graphic designer. I was tired of bosses, tired of meetings, tired of someone else controlling my time. I wanted freedom. I wanted to do what I loved and get paid for it. So I did what millions of people do. I started my own graphic design business, and at first it felt amazing. It was my own boss. I set my own horse. I picked my own clients. For the first 3 months, I felt like I had won the lottery. I was living a dream, or so I thought. You know that feeling, right? When you first start something new, maybe you launched a YouTube channel, opened an online store, started freelancing, and everything feels possible. That's where I was. I had no idea what was coming. Point number three, the trap. When the dream becomes a nightmare. By month six, things started to shift. Clients needed more efficiency. Deadlines got tighter. I had to handle emails, invoices, marketing, customer service, design work, everything. I told myself it's just temporary. Once I get more clients, I'll hire help. But here's the twisted part. The more clients I got, the more hours I worked. I went from 8 hours days to 12 hours day, then 14, then 16. I stopped seeing my friends. I missed my sister's birthday. I ate lunch in front of my laptop every single day. And the worst part, I could not even take a day off because if I stopped working, money stopped coming in. Does this sound familiar? Maybe you started a business and now you are drowning in tasks, or you launched a project and instead of feeling energized, you feel exhausted. You thought you were building freedom, but you built a trap. That's exactly what happened to me, and I did not understand why until I found a book. The book. The point number four, the realization, the entrepreneur's fatal assumption. One night, a friend handed me a book called The E Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. I will be honest, I almost didn't read it. I was too busy, but something made me open it. And on page 12, I read a sentence that stopped me cold. Most businesses fail because the person who owns the business is not an entrepreneur. They are a technician suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure. I had to read it again. A technician suffering from an entrepreneurial seizure. Gerber explained it like the most people start business because they are good at skill. A baker loves baking, so he opens a bakery. A photographer loves taking photos, so he starts a photography business. A designer like me loves designing, so I started a design business. But here's the problem. Being good at the technical work does not mean you know how to run a business. And the moment you start a business, you are no longer just a designer or a baker or a photographer. You are a CEO, a marketer, an accountant, a salesperson all at once. I realized I had spent 2 years working in my business, not on it. I was not building a company. I was just working and working and working. Next, the point number five, the three rules. Why you are burning out. Gerber says every business owner needs to play three roles: the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur. The technician does the hands on work, that's the designer designing, the writer writing, the coach coaching. The technician loves the craft, but the technician also believes if I want it done right, I have to do it myself. Sound familiar? The manager organizes everything. They create systems, schedules, and plans. The manager asks, how can we make this run smoothly? They bring order to chaos. The entrepreneur is the visionary. They dream big, see opportunities, and ask, where are you? We going? Where are we going? What's next? The entrepreneur builds the future. Here's the brutal truth. Most of us are 70% technician, 20% manager, and 10% entrepreneur. We spend all our time doing the work, a little time organizing it, and almost no time thinking about the bigger picture. That's why we burn out. That's why we feel stuck. I was trapped because I was playing only one role, the technician. I was doing all the design work myself and was drowning. Point number six, the shift. Working on it, not in it. So I made a decision. I was going to stop being just a technician. I was going to start acting like an entrepreneur. Gerber explains it like this. Imagine your business is not a place where you work. Imagine it's a product you are building. A product you could one day sell or step away from, and it would still run. That mindset shift hit me like a truck. What if my business did not depend on me working 16 hours a day? What if I built it so anyone could run it? I started asking different questions, not no, how do I finish this project, but how do I create a system so projects get finished without me? Not how do I find my more clients, but how do I build a marketing process that brings clients in automatically? This was not easy. It meant letting go of control. It meant documenting process, hiring people, and trusting others to do work that I used to do myself. But slowly things started to change. Point number seven, the systems. Building a business that works without you. Here's what I did step by step. First, I wrote down every single task I did in a week: design, work, emails, invoices, client calls, social media, everything. It was a long list. Then I asked which of these tasks only I can do and which could someone else do if I gave them clear instructions. Turns out most of the tasks did not need me. They just needed a system. So I created checklist. I documented my design process. I wrote email templates. I recorded video tutorials showing how I want things done. I built a simple manual for my business. Then I hired a virtual assistant to handle admin work. I brought a junior designer to help with similar small projects. And I focused on what only I could do: building client relationships and growing the business. At first, it felt weird. I thought, if I am not doing the work, am I even needed? But Gerber says that's exactly the point. You should build a business that does not need you to survive, because that's the only kind of business that can grow. Within 6 months, I went from working 16 hours a day to working 6 hours a day, and my income, it actually went up because I was not stuck doing low level tasks anymore. I was focusing on what mattered. Point number 8, the lesson, the franchise prototype. Gerber introduced a powerful idea called the franchise prototype. He asks, what if you build your business as if you were going to franchise it one day? Think about McDonald's. You can walk into a McDonald's anywhere in the world, and the burger tastes the same, the service is the same, the experience is the same. Why? Because they have systems for everything. Now, you don't have to actually franchise your business, but imagine if you built it with that mindset. What if everything in your business was so clear, so organized, so documented that anyone could step in and run it? That's what I started doing. I treated my small design business like a prototype. I asked if I had to teach someone else to run this one in one week, could I? And that question changed how I operated. You can do this with anything. Maybe you are building a YouTube channel, create a content system, a template for video ideas, scripting, editing, posting. Maybe you are a freelancing. Document how you onboard clients, deliver work, handle revisions. The goal is not to remove yourself completely. It's to remove yourself from being the bottleneck. Point number 9, the truth. Why this matters for you. Here's the biggest truth, and this applies even if you are not running a business. Most of us are stuck in technician mode in our own lives. We are so busy doing the work, answering emails, putting out fires, reacting to what's urgent, that we never stop to ask, am I building something that lost, or am I just busy? Maybe you are working hard to hard at your job, but you are not investing time in learning new skills that could advance your career. Maybe you are posting on social media, but you have not built a real strategy that grows your audience. Maybe you are grinding every day, but you are not making progress toward your actual goals. The lesson from the E myth is not just about business, it's about life. Stop working harder, start working smarter, build systems, document and about what works, delegate what you can, focus on what only you can do. Because if you don't, you will spend your whole life stuck on the hamster wheel, exhausted but going nowhere. Point number 10, the ending, the transformation. 2 years after reading that book, my life looks completely different. I still run my design business, but I only work 20 hours a week. I have a small team. We have a clear process. Clients get amazing results, and I finally have time to do things I started this business for in the first place. Travel, spend time with family, learn new things. But the biggest change is not the schedule, it's the mindset. I used to think success meant working harder than everyone else. Now I know success means building something that works without you having to sacrifice everything. So here's my challenge to you. Look at your life right now. What are you doing that only you can do? And what are you doing that's just keeping you busy? Write it down, be honest, then ask yourself, how can I build a system around this? How can I work smarter, not harder? Because the truth is you don't need to work 16 hours a day to build something great. You just need to work differently. And if I can do it, someone who almost gave up, who was drowning in their own business, you can too. The question is, are you ready to stop being a technician and start being an entrepreneur? Your future self is waiting. Go build it. Thank you.